Hello and whoa, coming in very hot. Hello and welcome to Indiepocalypse Radio. I am your host Andrew. I am the creator, editor, and all things about Indiepocalypse, except for the person who puts the games in, except for some of them. And this is Indiepocalypse Radio, the show where I talk to people who are in Indiepocalypse and do other things. Right? What's Indiepocalypse? It's an indie game anthology where people make games and I pay them for it, and we hopefully try to sell them to people in an effort to better value indie games. I'm here with my first guest here, Beanborg. How you doing, Beanborg? Hello?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I got everything set up. I got audio sources perfect for this one. No messing around with me being unmuted or muted or dismuted. And we got all the... Look at this. First try. I did this like when you set up the scene about 20 minutes ago. OBS is easy. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I love this thing. So, hello. So I'm going to start this how I start every show, I suppose, or every interview, which is, I forget which one I start with. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am Ben or Bean. I am an autistic and non-binary game developer. And just a few weeks ago, I finished this really cool game, Pushamo, that's kind of like a blend of Tetris and Sokoban puzzles.
Yes, and our first, hopefully, is not playing. Do you have sound on your end?
I do now.
Okay, stop talking for one moment. Okay, perfect. I've never done this before, so I wanted to make sure that Discord was one audio source, and it wasn't like, oh, the stream's the second audio source, but everyone can hear this. So perfect. And before we get to Pushamo, the other question is, how did you hear about Indiepocalypse? That's something I need to know.
It must have been months ago. I just saw it on Twitter.
Okay.
So I just shot my shot and submitted. And the first few times I didn't get in, but eventually I did.
Yes. And now actually because of entries such as yours, I've started implementing the waiting list where I email people who didn't get in because there was just not enough space. And I'm like actively telling people that, so it's not like, oh, I didn't get into Indiepocalypse. Well, is my game bad at everything? And the answer is no. There's just only 10 games per month, and sometimes people submit like 30 good games. And what am I gonna do about this? So, tell me a little bit about Pushamo here. Why do those blocks have colors in them?
So the colors are just aesthetic.
Okay.
The only thing important is how they fit together. So anytime you make a 3x3 or bigger square, they all disappear and you get points. Bigger matches get you more points.
Okay, alright, cool. I'm not good at live commentary. That is not my Twitch forte, but I will figure it out as we go. So, see a level up there. Is it kind of like puzzle game level where it's like level of difficulty, or is it discrete levels within the game?
It's like Tetris where it gets faster and faster as you level up.
All right, cool. So, I don't want to say what made you think of this game because what made you think of this game? Did you have like a kernel? Did it come like fully formed? Like, yes, I have an idea for a video game.
Well, originally it was made for 32. It was made for what is it called? Low res jam, where it had to be 32 by 64 by 64 pixels or less, which is a really small space. So I made the original version in the game jam over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I decided I liked it, so I spent 3 months working on it and expanding it and polishing it to make what we have here.
And is this what would you consider to be finished Pushamo?
It's finished and it's released.
Perfect.
I'm thinking about adding a couple more modes, but it's got plenty already.
Yeah.
And then the only mechanically, it's pretty similar to the original version. The biggest difference is there's just a lot more content. So
Yeah.
there's the regular modes I've been playing. There's also just a puzzle mode, which just you have a bunch of pieces. You need to figure out how to clear all of them at once,
Okay.
as well as challenge mode, which has a bunch of crazy rules variations.
All right. Okay.
Such as snake. So now you have a tail that follows you, and you can't cross it around. Just like you're playing Snake at the same time.
Yeah. Does it get bigger or?
Yeah,
Or
it
is
gets
that-
bigger every
okay.
time you make it clear.
All right. Yeah. So, actually, like, 3 months that's actually a very good thing to hear, because part of the reason I started Indiepocalypse was the exhaustion of saying, "Oh, I made a Game Jam game that I liked," and we spent the last 7 years on it. So, how do you advise people? Say like, "Hey, learn to like scope yourself," I suppose.
Yeah, so this was coming off of, was working on another project for a long time, on and off for a year and a half, which they are even longer times for people's standards, but, a year is a long time, and I
Right.
wasn't really feeling like I had a lot to show for it, and I was just frustrated by that. So I decided I wanted to work on something really small like this, which ended up being really nice, because it meant that I just had room to do what I wanted to and couldn't fit anything else in.
Right, and small does not seem like, small I think can sometimes be a pejorative in games, especially among certain people who would view length of game as equals to quality of game and that sort of thing, or value of game. But having not even played this game, I can see this is a very this is complete. You could always add features and mode. Clearly, modes for eternity, given that there was 4 or 5 of these more abstract modes in it and in that menu.
Yeah, there's they're categorized by different groups. So this is the group that just has a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then there are more tame ones, it's just all the shapes are different now.
Okay. Okay, yes, there. I like the idea of just sort of taking what your system that you have and then just pushing it to its limits and abstracting it as much as possible while still making it feel somewhat familiar.
Yeah, that was exactly the reason why I wanted to take it further. Just because I came up with these variations, and I knew it was worth building out the rest of the game for them.
Right, it's you have rules. It's kind of to get to the most simplest abstract versions. You have literally sometimes game design is you have a deck of cards, and it's how many rules can I devise with this simple tool set that I have? And if you build it moddable enough, you can make it like this, where you have who knows how many variations and how easy they are. How easy would you say each variation is to create or implement?
So I can actually show under the hood to show how this works. So for a lot of the simple ones, it's just changing some variables. So for one that's instant gravity, you just set the block speed to move really fast, and that's all that you need to change. Some of them are a bit more involved, like the snake one has a bit more to it, but since I knew this was the core of what I did, it ended up being pretty simple because I built it around being able to change every little facet of the game.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, the instant gravity, there's some variations which are literally just, I changed one number, one variable number, and it changes everything fundamentally. Now, is this Pico 8?
Yeah, this is Pico 8.
Okay, I've never used it. I didn't realize can you live code in this thing?
Yeah, so that's one of the cool things with Pico 8. So there's a lot of cool things that it allows you to do. So one thing you can do is you can just pause it. You can change some variables. So I could change my score, and
Oh wow.
that makes it really helpful for debugging.
Yeah.
And Pico 8, if you're not familiar, first of all, it's just a neat little engine. It's called a fantasy console.
Yeah.
So basically, pretend that this was a console that was out, like the Commodore, that was out in the 8-bit era, and has a bunch of restrictions as if it were like that. So it has a 128 pixel screen. You can only have 4 sound channels playing at once. The sound forms that you make are only limited to basic waves, and just a bunch of other restrictions like that,
Yeah.
based on the idea that these restrictions help breed creativity.
Right. Yeah. No. When back when I could actually had time to make games, like digitally speaking, I would very arbitrarily like find these restrictions because I enjoyed them. I would look up like what's the resolution on like the Nintendo Entertainment System, and some like A Sprite has like those color palettes baked in, so you can hard restrict yourself to those color palettes. But like sound channels, like I'm not tech oriented. How can I restrict myself to sound channels or that sort of thing? Is more complicated for me at least. So it's nice that there's like a tool that does like all the busy work for you for someone who just wants to make something. Which I think that's just generally good. Like the more engines there are, the easier it is to make something, the better it is for game design in the long run, I think. The more you can have something like Bitsy, which is just like literally in browser. So you don't have to worry about like buying something or even like having intense computing power and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. And the fun part is, well, the restrictions make it fun, but also part of it is because the community is so great.
Yeah.
Just to take it off my own game for a moment, you can explore to see all these other games that people made in all these different categories. And you can, like the original Celeste, which was made in Pico 8, you can run it and try it out. And then you can learn from it. You can pause it and look at all the code and sprites and everything that went into it. You can even go further and you can mod them.
Yeah.
Say you want to make Celeste blue, you can do that, and it changes, and it's really mod friendly like that.
Okay.
Now I'm blue.
Yeah, like, and that's like I imagine like downloading a local version for yourself. And does that store like regularly update, or like that explore menu? Is that something that is sort of like actively updating, or something you prep beforehand?
So there's a Lexloff of forums that you post to, and it'll automatically get added to the new tab here.
Okay.
And then the creator of Pico 8, Zep, will handpick a couple of them to be featured here in this tab.
Oh wow.
There's people do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Someone's making all of Sonic. There's 3D things that people will make.
Yeah, I saw that pool one.
Is really mathy.
Yeah. There's
people do like really cool music videos and stuff too.
Let's just turn this into a Pico 8 stream. What are we doing here with this talk show? But I didn't know this in the same way, like just in the way I'll let that ride a little bit more. I want to see that that title fade.
Okay, it's just a little loud, so I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we're good. I'm good. All right, you can pause it again.
No, you're good. I turned you up.
Okay, good. I just wanted to see. I definitely wanted to see like that title, like warp in. Yeah, like I think just because of the way I see Pico 8 and the fact that I don't run it, I never saw that. Like honestly, people should just have it just to use that tab. And just like even if you never make games, because it's kind of like the same way recently I started like just the way I used Bandcamp. I never went to the main page and then realized they have that feed up there. That's like, do you know what I'm talking about? They use Band.
I don't.
So on the front page of Bandcamp, they have this constantly updating feed that is just everything everybody's buying.
Oh wow.
So it's just like beep, and you can like when you hover over it stops, but it's just like, oh, somebody in Australia bought this album, and it shows you how much, like what they bought, where they're from, and how much they paid for it. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just kind of like algorithm free, like browsing menu, because it's just like, or like algorithm that is purist, because it's literally showing you what people are paying for at the moment before it gets filtered into like star rating numbers or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah, this goes on for a while.
Yes. No, this is like very... It reminds me of like a computer era that I was not a part of.
Me neither. I am 23, and it was funny because I gave a talk a little bit ago about Pico 8, sharing it with people. And one of the points was a lot of people like it because it does like have a great deep nostalgia for them. But that's also absent from a good chunk of people who use it because that was so long ago by this point.
Right. I'm a bit older than 23, and I also, like, my first PC was like a Windows 95 or 98. So this kind of like that Commodore, Amiga era is completely got lost to me. Also, I'm not in Europe, so I don't know how big it was necessarily in the US. But even like the Atari computers, I never saw one in real. I don't think I've still ever seen one in real life. So
I'm not sure. No, I have.
Okay.
Because I went to a computer museum to check that all stuff out.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I have seen one like in one of those, but like in like a museum or like a shop capacity.
Right.
But not in like a context that I was like, oh, look, a PC. I want to get into weird. I was talking last stream about like PC 98 or PC 88 and all those consoles like that weren't even in the US. I didn't want to get into those, but that's another discussion for an entirely different show that I want to have eventually, maybe. Anyway, so we have one question here from. Let me refresh. At least one question here. Yes. Someone points out that when we were at Indiecade, yes, there was a guy who had like literal Atari games that he was selling and like demoing.
Oh, that's dope.
And like he had, you know, there's a whole homebrew thing. Like, have you seen anything? Have you messed around or looked at GB Studio at all, or Game Boy?
No, but I have friends who do.
Yeah, because that's like seems like it's picking up a lot of steam. I've seen a lot of people using it and like flashing games to carts now. And I love this movement towards. I enjoy very lo-fi things, and I like a move to like a purist lo-fi to some extent. Like Pico 8 and GB Studio was like, no, this is literally this. Like these are like the restrictions. It's not like a pretend Game Boy where you actually have like a 50 audio, like unlimited audio channels in a billion colors.
Right. You have to follow the restrictions, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's like you get. I think like you were saying way back a moment ago. I think restriction breeds creativity to some extent. And it also allows you to, like, when you're restricted and you can't make a million things, then you can actually finish something when you don't have the like endless possibilities.
Right. 'Cause, yeah, a lot of ways being able to fit so much and do that much makes you want to do all of it, which just slows everything down.
Right. It's like, oh, well, we could hire an orchestra, but like you can't hire a Pico 8 orchestra. I mean, I guess technically you could and abstract it down to Pico 8, but So we have one question here
Yes.
from Chair G Tables, who contributor was on the last stream, and it simply asks, best food?
Best food.
No, this is...
I've been having some mushroom gyros recently, which are really good. I wish I could make them.
Yeah, I haven't had... Yeah, just... The world of, like, going out and getting food is something that I missed a lot. And now with, like... I mean, I guess there was always some places that were, like, slightly open, you know? Who was like, don't come into our office, but we'll hand you... We'll make a drop of euros down the street, and you'll pay us on the line, and then you'll pick them up, and we'll never see each other. Now, is that Oh.
Go on.
No. If I'm ever talking, you want to say something, the rule for the stream is you just power through me. I'll shut up.
I was going to say picking up is fine, but I would never go into a restaurant for another year.
Yes, yeah. So is there like a specific spot that is like, this is like the mushroom gyro place around you?
Though there's only one that I know, and it's called Big Papa Gyros.
Okay. I was gonna say also, is that the situation where you only have one, which is kind of like, if I really enjoy like Indian food, but there's like one in half an hour to me, so it's like the only place.
Right.
So I have another question that is like my go-to question, which is a recommendation for the gamers out there for something that is not a video game. And this is not strictly like to inspire game design. This is more like the version of like, hey, I wish gamers would learn to play something besides the one video game, you know, or like read a book for once, with or without that level of condescension. That's entirely up to you.
One recommendation, just of anything?
Yeah, of anything.
I would say there's a show on YouTube called Box Peak, which is absolutely lovely. It's 10 episodes made mostly by one person. It's all made of animated with papercraft, which is super unique. And it's a charming story about a boy who wants to become the best at Box Peak.
You said Box Speak?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Box Peak.
Oh, Box Peak. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's got a lot of vibes like an early 2000s anime.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
And it subverts them in the best possible ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the people who grew up on like that era of anime and everything are coming, you know, starting to get like of a creative age. So it's interesting to see. Like, I remember, I mean, now they're all like in their 30s, but there was a group of artists who grew up as like the kids on the Barnes & Noble floor reading manga. So when they post all their old art, it's all like terrible anime art. But now there's like a new era of terrible anime kids who grew up on anime with a whole new brand of what is their interpretation of like what modern anime is.
Right.
So that's an interesting. And is that like that person's only thing they've made?
This person is like with a network. I don't exactly know what else they do.
Okay.
I haven't really watched any of their other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's such a charming and unique piece, and it makes me happy every time I watch it.
Well, perfect. Yeah, I am getting more into animation lately. I want to put animation on the show. I started the show partially because of a late night animation live stream. Like shout outs to like the Ambiguity program, which airs tomorrow night. But like it was the idea of this ephemeral live stream that comes and goes, and you have to be there, and if you're not there, then it goes away forever. That's because they're playing animation that they don't own. And I'm playing
nice.
And I'm playing music that I own. But it's like cool, like old and foreign animation.
Ooh.
It's very good and I like it a lot. I love that sort of like... It's the same thing with like... there's a Boston theater who... I believe it's the Brattle, who had like a trash night for trash movies. And then they started doing them on Twitch because it's quarantine. And I like to just like people trying to find something because nobody can go out anymore, and we're all getting very stir crazy in our house, and we need to go out and see people and meet people. And this is where it all comes down to things like I started this. People are hosting movie nights. People are hosting like just kind of hangouts and showing off their games.
Yeah, I've been doing nothing but basically board games online with Tabletop Simulator for the last 9 months now.
Yeah, exactly.
Then this, I guess.
Right, but also like I missed the physical events that you could go to. So it's like, I mean, everyone is trying to figure out a way to host a digital event, whether it's like making digital. Here's a question: what would your ideal, as a game developer, what is your ideal version of a digital space, like a digital convention in this time and place? Ignoring the idea of like, is this feasibly possible? Could you actually make this? Just in an ideal world, what is it?
It'd have to have like, I don't know. It'd have to have like a really good way to show off for like an indie game alley where people could like check out other people's things. I don't know what the best way to do that digitally would be to like replicate that kind of booths.
Yeah.
And then just a bunch of cool talks on Twitch to also check out.
Yeah, because I don't know if anyone has a perfect solution, or like how you physically make that without making like an app. Because the tricky thing is once you make a program, you got to make sure people can launch everything from that program, right?
Right. Well, my thought was like, maybe it could be just all on a Discord channel.
Okay.
Each presenter maybe can take their own voice channel and be streaming. People can hop in and out to check them out. And then maybe some kind of program that lets you also play it remotely.
Yeah. Okay, all right. This is not me thinking of something to do. I have no... This is... Making a venue and a show is not something I have interest in doing.
No, if you use my ideas, I want royalties.
I'm so adherent to paying people, I'd have to pay them. No, don't worry, I'll make sure to charge guests a lot of money. I was looking at one, and it's like, join our online digital event. $60 submission fee, $300 if you get accepted.
Oh, is that $300 cost?
Yeah, to the developers.
Yikes.
I was like, excuse you? What am I paying $300 for? I imagine they're going to say our social media marketing power or something like that. But I feel like people are just out there to get paid. Or they have, like, it's... Event runners are like, and these kinds of things are like festival organizers are tricky because they want to fund like a year's worth of salaries in like 2 weeks or something, like 2 events a week, and it's very tricky.
Yeah.
So they have to like, but I don't have to worry about that because I know I'm not I can't fund myself with this. But anyway, let's not talk about get into an endless conversation about finances and logistics of finances. Do you have anything, like any last Pushamo bits you want to mention?
I wanted to mention, so Pushamo is out now. It's available at itch.io, beanborg.itch.io/Pushamo. I'll throw that link in chat. And 100% of the money goes to the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network.
Oh, perfect.
Which is, it's a great charity that helps advance stuff like disabilities rights, and I don't remember everything.
Yeah, there's so many of them, and like so many of the individual ones have slightly different goals. So yeah, you're not their PR. I don't trust you. I trust to know every single part of their life, but you know what? That you're donating money is good. of remembering to pitch myself. So it's good. Good that you have that instinct within you. Yeah.
It's an instinct I still have to fight to get working.
Yeah.
Because it's a fight between I like being the center of attention and showing my stuff off.
Yeah.
But I'm also like mortified of putting myself out there.
Welcome to deciding to start a live show, and every Friday going, oh, I'd never want to do this show ever again.
Oh,
and every
no.
Saturday going, oh man, this show's great. I love doing this. I want to do this every day. But so yes, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. That was a quick half an hour. I've learned that these half hours go a lot faster than I expect them to. So we are going to throw it a break. I'm going to stop this thing, and we're going to come back with our next guest in but a moment.